God said.
The first half of 2 Samuel 19 verse 35. KJV. I am this day 80 years old, and can I discern between good and evil? And can thy servant taste what I eat or what I drink? In the KJV it reads, can I discern between good and evil? While the new versions change it to, nothing gives me pleasure anymore, or can I discern what is pleasant and what is not? The difference between good and evil is not always about what is more or less enjoyable. 2 Samuel 22 verses 5 to 6. KJV. When the waves of death compassed me, the floods of ungodly men made me afraid. The sorrows of hell compassed me about. The snares of death prevented me. In the KJV, it reads ungodly men and sorrows of hell. Meanwhile, in the new versions, it reads the torrents of destruction assailed me and the cords of Sheol, or the floods of destruction, the ropes of Sheol, or the torrents of destruction, or the cords of the grave. Hell is mentioned 54 times in the KJV, 17 times in the ESV and NRSV, and 15 times in the NIV and NASB. Also, they change ungodly men to things, downplaying the wickedness of mankind. With the lack of conviction about evil and God's holy punishment, hell gets watered down. 2 Samuel 23 verse 5. KJV. Although my house be not so with God, yet he hath made with me an everlasting covenant, ordered in all things, and sure, for this is all my salvation, and all my desire, although he make it not to grow. In the KJV it reads, although my house be not so with God. The new versions change it to, for does not my house stand so with God? Or is my house not indeed so with God? And so on. The context of this verse refers to qualities of a just leader, as demonstrated in verse 3 and 4. David humbly states in the KJV that he did not live up to this expectation, while new versions make him sound like he's saying, isn't it apparent that I am talking about myself? Undermining his humility. Job 26 verse 5. KJV. Dead things are formed from under the waters, and the inhabitants thereof. In the KJV it reads, dead things are formed from under the waters. Meanwhile, in the new versions it says, the dead tremble under the waters, or the departed spirits are made to tremble under the waters, or even the shades below tremble, or even the dead are in deep anguish, those beneath the waters. New versions don't make sense. If you're dead, you're not going to be able to tremble. Underwater, volcanic activity forms new rock, which then brings forth new life, i.e., shrimps, crabs, etc., to feed off of its surface. Here's a small video to demonstrate this phenomenon. Psalm 70 verse 2, KJV. Let them be ashamed and confounded that seek after my soul. Let them be turned backward and put to confusion that desire my hurt. In the KJV it reads my soul, but in the new versions they change it to my life. Man is made up of body, soul, and spirit. Other versions, as listed, remove mentions of soul by almost half, where the NIV uses a quarter of the mentions the KJV has for soul. Psalm 73, verse 12, KJV. Behold, these are the ungodly, who prosper in the world, they increase in riches. In the KJV it reads, who prosper in the world, while in the new versions it reads, always at ease, or always free of care. In Isaiah 48, verse 22, it reads, there is no peace, saith the Lord, unto the wicked. They might monetarily prosper in this world, but what real peace is there in overindulgence, carnality, and depravity? Proverbs 8, verse 22, KJV. The Lord possessed me in the beginning of his way, before his works of old. In the KJV it reads, possessed me. Meanwhile, in the new versions it says, brought me forth, or created me. According to the new versions, God did not have wisdom in the beginning. The allegory of wisdom being a woman in this chapter should demonstrate that the Lord has always possessed wisdom and had no need to create it. Ecclesiastes 3 verse 11, KJV. He hath made everything beautiful in his time. Also he hath set the world in their heart, so that no man can find out the work that God maketh from the beginning to the end. In the KJV it reads, also he hath set the world in their heart. Meanwhile, in the new versions it reads, he has put eternity into the hearts of men. Or, he has also set eternity in their heart. If God put the world in man's heart, then man's capacity is limited, as the context presents. If it is eternity, then it is infinite and not limited, which defeats the context of the full verse, being so that no man can find out the work that God maketh from the beginning to the end. The first half of Daniel chapter 9 verse 26. KJV. And after 62 weeks shall Messiah be cut off, but not for himself. And the people of the prince that shall come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary. In the KJV it reads, shall Messiah be cut off, but in the new versions it reads, unanointed one shall be cut off, or the appointed leader will be killed. Every Christian ought to know who Messiah is, Jesus Christ. But while Messiah means anointed one, newer renditions get more generic until we finally have statements like the appointed leader or unanointed one. This could be anyone, and doesn't show the significance of this time period where Jesus Christ was the one to have been cut off when the sanctuary was destroyed in 70 AD by Titus and his Roman legions. Hosea 10 verse 1, KJV. Israel is an empty vine, he bringeth forth fruit unto himself. According to the multitude of his fruit he hath increased the altars. According to the goodness of his land they have made goodly images. In the KJV it reads, Israel is an empty vine, he bringeth forth fruit unto himself. In the new versions, it reads, Israel is like a vine that grows plenty of fruit. Or, Israel is a luxuriant vine, he produces fruit for himself. Israel is an empty vine for the Lord, because it has taken all the fruits for itself. There is no more fruit to pick for God. To say Israel has plenty of fruit gives more room to say there's enough fruit to go around. If you want to see more differences, subscribe to this channel or go to GUMROAD and download list. Also on GUMROAD is a KJV versus New tract, along with other tracts and content you can download in print. All monetary contributions are appreciated. Thank you for watching this segment and hope this has been to your edification.